What's going on, you guys? TBR here, and welcome to the Saturday Chat and Chill, where we pick a topic in the King of Fighters Allstar community, sit down and talk about it for about 15 minutes. So in this week's video, of course, we're talking about yesterday's updates. Let's get into it. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Saturday Chat and Chill. I know all of you are so excited for next week, so we're going to be talking all things collaboration and third anniversary. But before we do, smash that like button and subscribe if you're new here, and let's go ahead and get into this week's topic, because we have a ton of stuff to talk about. There is more information in these notes from yesterday than even we were able to cover in a 20-minute long video yesterday, so we have a lot to talk about. First things first, we are going to be starting off with the Dead or Alive collaboration. More specifically, we are going to be talking about some information that has been discovered from that video that we did not cover in that video yesterday. So let's go ahead and talk about that first. Now, the first thing here that I did not point out in yesterday's video because, well, I missed it. Sorry, I'm preparing for vacation, that's where my head's at, but Kasumi is a blue attack type and Neo Tengu is a red defense. So that is going to be the first bit of information that we wanted to go ahead and cover here, because that was confirmed from the gameplay in that video. And in the case of Kasumi, this is good news for her. A attack type in general is always going to be a typing that you are going to want to see, and being that she is also going to be a blue attack type, of which we don't have necessarily a huge breadth of in this game, that is definitely going to be welcome. And then as far as Neo Tengu is concerned, she is extremely good from the sounds of it already, with some other information that we have gotten from this trailer that we're about to talk about. But being a red defense, we have not seen a whole lot of red defense fest characters recently, so it is nice to see that we see this mixed typing here yet again. However, it is going to prove to be probably a little bit less of a character that is going to be able to output massive amounts of damage as a result. However, one thing that makes that to the point where it might not matter is going to be that information we were just alluding to, and that is going to be the fact that Neo Tengu, from the looks of it in this trailer, and this is unconfirmed, so take this with a pinch of salt, and everything with any of these characters can always change at release. Always keep that in mind. It has happened before, and don't be bummed out if it happens again. However, it is looking as though Neo Tengu is indeed going to have the core that you see on Boss Syndrome Ignis that is going to lower her cooldowns with her basic attacks. Now, we do not have confirmation on this. However, we have talked about this here on the channel whenever we were talking about Boss Syndrome Ignis and talking about his viability, and especially whenever we did that spotlight on that character, we talked about the fact that if they decide that they are going to start reusing this core on other characters, they need to be very careful how they tread, because this is going to become a very busted mechanic very quickly. We saw that with Ignis, where that is something that makes that character just so good, and that is one of the best cores in the game currently, and it might end up proving to be something that we see making or breaking the meta over the course of the next several months if they continue to do this. So that is something that I wanted to bring up. There's also a few other unconfirmed reports of certain things going on these kits. I don't really want to get into all the minutia, and I try to avoid doing so whenever I try to react to things, because I don't want it to be a situation where, one, it could potentially be changed like they have done so many times before they launch these characters, and also because anything like that, super armor, hyper armor, anything like that is very hard to gauge, especially considering the fact that you're not necessarily sure where it's coming from or who might have it and might not, whether it's on a core or a skill. It's tough to gauge all these sorts of things, so I'm not going to get into the minutia of that, but I think that it is a safe bet to assume that all of these characters in some way, shape, or form, just like it has become the case for all the characters we have gotten recently, are going to have some form of super armor, hyper armor, damage mitigation, or damage immunity somewhere on their kits, like we saw with Neo Tengu when we saw that she had that shield core that we have seen recently with Boss Syndrome Original Zero. So all of these characters so far, they're not looking like they are shaping up to be as, and I don't want to say weak, because there were some bright spots to that Seven Deadly Sins collaboration, but at the same time, they are looking like they are going to be a fair bit better from the looks of it. So time will tell. The characters look really good. I'm really happy about what I'm seeing with some of the game modes that they're planning on doing here. I'm really happy to see we're going to be getting 2 free fest characters. That is also something that is super welcome, especially for all of you out there who are just now getting into this game. This game is fantastic. It has its issues like any game, but it is a great game at the end of the day, and don't question that, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't love it in some way, shape, or form. So, you know, when it comes to this collaboration, it is looking like it is going to be pretty hyped for the most part for fans of the franchise. I know a lot of people that are King of Fighters fans are sort of disappointed or are just outright upset about the fact that they chose this over other options. However, do keep in mind, this game has plenty of time left in it, and we will get plenty more collaborations down the road. Assume that we will get something really fun for you at some point. Everybody's time comes eventually with something they enjoy. Just be patient, it'll happen. So when it comes to other things that we know now from all of this information from yesterday and my opinions on it, I kind of want to just go down the list. So the first thing that I want to talk about is going to be that dungeon that we are going to have, the Beach of Paradise is what they are calling it, that is going to be similar to Chapter of Fight in structure with the tiered system, and then also is going to require you to be using the Dead or Alive characters. So we haven't seen a whole lot of this dungeon yet. However, I do have some hope that it doesn't suck, and I'm really hoping it doesn't, because from what they said, from all the information they gave us on what we are going to be playing it for as far as the rewards go, man, those rewards are juicy. So it is sounding like it is shaping up to be a majorly rewarding piece of PvE content for all of us to play over the course of the next month. However, we always got a question whenever they don't show us any information whatsoever, especially when what little they have shown us has pretty much been a picture with a bunch of stuff blurred out on it. It doesn't really breed a whole lot of hope within people. So we're going to hope that it ends up being good and it ends up delivering on what it is promising. But when it comes to those rewards, we're definitely all going to want to play it. And being that we are getting 2 free characters with the start of this collaboration, or at least during this collaboration, because that is another thing. It's looking like we are not necessarily going to get a login character like we've seen so many times with other collaborations. Instead, we are going to have to earn these 2 characters. Now, it's sounding like it isn't going to be anything that's a major deal. However, do keep in mind that if you were hoping to play with these characters day one, there is a chance, based on what we know so far, that that might not happen. You might have to wait a few days and do some grinding, but that's okay, not a big deal. Now, when it comes to other things coming along with this, of course, Based Chrysalid, he announced again and reiterated that we are going to be getting Epic Quest Chapter 2. I know that a lot of people are very excited for this. It is something that I am super excited for. I always welcome Epic Quest. I always welcome good PvE content. Epic Quest is really good for free-to-play players. It just requires grinding. However, you are rewarded with some really cool prizes whenever you play that mode, and so it is really nice to see that we're finally going to get the next chapter. I'm super excited for that. You guys can let me know in the comments how you feel about it, but I am really excited and I don't mind a little bit of grinding. So when it comes to other things that are going to be going on with all of this, of course, the big elephant in the room, and I talked about this briefly yesterday, although I tried to keep my opinions out of yesterday's video, is going to, of course, be the fact that we can now transcend our battle cards. So when it comes to the transcend system, on the surface, it isn't something that I'm necessarily that concerned about if they implement it in the way that it seems like they're going to. So for those of you who are unaware, basically what is going on with this is they are going to allow us to awaken, or transcend as they're calling it, our cards for our battle cards for our characters. Now, it sounds like it is just going to be finisher cards, and what we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to have to use from what we assume based upon what we saw in the dev note. However, some people are, and rightfully so, a bit skeptical and worried that potentially that is a lost in translation thing, and when they said that we would need cards of the same grade to awaken or transcend these cards to next levels, because they can go up to 5. So it's basically going to be like what we have right now with the characters, only it doesn't seem like we're going to need duplicates of that specific card, which, thank God if that's the case, and damn you Netmarble if it is, because if we need duplicates, and I do not think that we do, I think that this is going to be fine and we're all going to be able to use up all of our extra 6-star cards, especially that have just been laying around and clogging up our inventory, or a bunch of our 5-star cards. We now have other options besides combining for them. We can use those to go ahead and transcend whatever battle card we deem fit. So if that is going to be the way that this is structured, from the sounds of it, it is going to be, then that is completely and utterly a great move, and I love it, because it is going to give everybody the option, because we get plenty of 5-star card tickets and all these other things all the time. It's stuff that generally isn't exciting, but now if we have something like this that we can parlay that sort of thing into, that is really, really good, and I think a lot of people would be really happy about this. So for anybody that's that worried about it, don't be that worried about it. This could potentially be a really cool thing, and it would be something that everybody could take advantage of. It would be a far cry easier than it is to awaken an actual character to do the cards, because all you would need is a card of the same grade. And by grade, basically, for those of you who do not know or are new, basically, if you want to transcend your 5-star 3PG card on your character, then you would need a 5-star battle card to go ahead and do that with, or if it were a 6-star card, the same thing, you would need a 6-star card, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of what it is sounding like, and again, if that is the case, this is awesome. I'm happy about this. I have a ton of characters that I can now do this with. Hell, I have so many copies of certain characters' cards because you guys have seen my pull luck with cards. Like, for instance, I have like 7 Halmaru cards from that collaboration for the Samurai Showdown, so I have a lot of options with that if I end up getting that sort of system, and I think a lot of players are in that same boat, so that is really good. I think that's great. Now, one other thing I do want to talk about, and again, as long as the system does not require dupes, we're good. You guys are all good with that? Okay, we're good. So the last thing I want to talk about as far as it relates to everything from yesterday is some people are upset about not getting more free rubies. Now, there is something that was talked about in that video yesterday by the developers, or at least the head of the development, and Ni, and he had mentioned that basically Koei Tecmo was extremely, we'll say, hands-on, or at least was overseeing in a very detailed way what they did with these characters. And we know that this collaboration they wanted to release earlier than this. They did not want it to be around the anniversary. However, it seems like what might have happened, and we knew it got delayed, and originally we thought it might have been the pandemic. However, that is not the case from the sounds of it. It could have just been that Koei Tecmo had issues off and on with certain design choices and things of that nature, and may have forced them to kind of delay things because of the changes they had mandated. So we don't have necessarily 100% confirmation that that was all of the reason, but it definitely played a part from the sounds of it. So keep that in mind if you guys are, you know, upset about certain things as it relates to that, because it might have been out of their hands, and they can't unfortunately give us 1,000,000 free rubies around an anniversary with a collaboration because of the collaboration itself. You know, they pay for these rights, and I'm sure that there are going to be clauses in those contracts where, you know, they want them to do certain things, or are going to be asking for specific things. So you got to keep that in mind as well. However, they are giving us a lot of rubies. We got that code yesterday for 2,000 free rubies, which if you guys have not used it, check out yesterday's video. I put it right at the beginning for all of you. Now, we do get those 2,000. We got the 3,000 for the pre-registration that they had done last week or the week before. So we had those. We know we are going to be getting more with this dungeon, this beach of paradise, or whatever they want to call it. So we know that there's a bunch of rubies coming from that as well. They've confirmed that. All of this stuff is, you know, it adds up. You know, at that point, you're probably at least talking about 10,000 rubies or so minimum, because they did confirm that we were going to be getting 5,000 with that Beach of Paradise event. So that's not a bad chunk of change, you guys. It's a lot better than what we would have normally gotten with a live stream. So I think it's just fine. So, you know, the fact that they're giving this many is really nice. I think some people might have gotten spoiled with the ruby refunds they've been kind of churning out over the past couple of months. But again, this is not an in-house banner. This is not a limited banner for King of Fighters. It is a banner that is something they had to pay good money to use, and probably brings along with it a lot of clauses, a lot of red tape, and a lot of other players that are going to be playing around in the background with these things that want certain things from Netmarble. So it isn't necessarily something I think is feasible, and we still do not know what all they are planning on giving us besides the things they've already named off. We don't even know if we have scratched the surface of everything yet. There could be more things, and they even said to us that they are planning on doing several different updates in the month of August, which is really cool, especially when you consider they could easily skate by on just doing this collaboration and not do anything else the rest of the month, because it usually is a long period of time to play these things. But anyway, guys, that is what I'm excited about. I hope you guys are excited about this update, because I do think that this is a mostly positive update from the sounds of it. It could end up going one of two ways with certain things we don't have confirmation on, and I know everybody's going to be upset about, you know, my character wasn't in the collaboration or this, that, or the other. But guys, just be happy you're getting it if you're a fan of the franchise, and enjoy it. But anyway, guys, that is going to be today's Saturday Chat and Chill. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I am going to be on vacation. I got an 11-hour drive in front of me after I finish recording this, so I am going to be getting out of here. There will be videos next week. However, it might be sporadic depending on Wi-Fi connection, but I will try to at least bring you guys 3 or 4 videos next week. Anyway, y'all, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next one. Viva vacation!